Hey guys, I'm back again. I've been using the Google Pixel 7a for 3 weeks and I want to give you my honest review on my experience so far. In terms of design, the Google Pixel 7a is a very clean and simple design. It looks and feels identical to the regular Google Pixel 7, which is $100 more. Pixel 7a costs $500, so there are some sacrifices that need to be made. For example, the back is made of plastic. The sides are still aluminum, so it feels well built and sturdy in the hands. And despite the plastic back, it does not feel cheap at all. And the 7a comes in 4 different colors: charcoal, aka black, snow is white, coral is coral, I guess. I have the charcoal version, which I find it to be plain and boring. I would have preferred the sea or the coral. Coral is a Google website exclusive, but I got my phone from T-Mobile on day one and they did not have all the color options, so I just selected what I have. I would recommend going for a brighter color instead of the charcoal, because with the darker color, it is much easier to see the dust around the camera bar. And just in general, with this plastic back, it kind of have a glossy look, and it is a giant fingerprint magnet. So if you don't like to use cases like myself, it is not very pleasant to look at on a day-to-day basis. But if you do use a case, then you'll be fine. For display, you're getting a 6.1-inch display, which is the same size as the Galaxy S23. You are getting a 1080p display. It is pretty sharp and bright, great viewing angles. Overall, no complaints with the display on this phone for what it is. I came from the Galaxy S23, which has a 750 peak brightness, and the differences are pretty big outside, especially under direct sunlight. I don't find myself in that situation a lot. Usually I run for the shades, but whenever I am exposed to direct sunlight, I do find that the 7a is much darker. You can still see it though, but the differences are vast. If you're coming from a premium phone like the Galaxy S23 that costs $300 more. And in terms of performances, I was pretty excited when I got the Google Pixel 7a for the first time, but after a few weeks I did notice some significant flaws with this phone. Although I love Pixel phones for the value, there were a lot of sacrifices made to get to this price point, and at the end of the day, you really do get what you pay for. I know this may trigger some hardcore Pixel fans out there, but just speaking from my honest personal experience, I do love both phones, by the way. Pixel 7a is powered by the Tensor G2 chip. It is not the fastest processor in the market, but it is more than powerful enough for everyday tasks like web surfing, checking email, watching YouTube. I haven't really experienced any slowdown or lags on this phone if I'm just using it normally, but if I decide to launch a million apps at once, it does get warm. I do get the message saying that the phone is getting warm. It can slow down depending on what you do with it. But with the G2, you're getting the same chip as the Google Pixel 7 Pro, also the same as the $1,800 Google Pixel Fold that is coming out. So a lot of power here for a mid-range phone. Google is using the best chip that it has to offer. Samsung, on the other hand, do not use the best chip in their A series, and the differences is pretty big. With the A54, it is a half second to 1 second slower between every single swipe or app launches, and this does add up throughout the day. And I find myself not wanting to touch the A54 due to the fact that it is much slower. But with the G2, if you're just using it normally, it's pretty fast and efficient, but it does run hot though, and it cannot handle a lot of apps running at once. Even when I'm driving, I don't really think it is outrageous to have GPS on, Bluetooth music playing, and with my 15-watt fast charger plugged in, it barely even charged just because the phone is already over processing and getting warm. So that is kind of a shame, and it is something that I experience on a regular basis. It does have a 7.5 wireless charging, but I find it almost useless if I'm driving, because if the 15 watt is barely even charging the phone, the 7.5 watt either holds its charge or is still losing a percent or two while I'm driving. So it is fine if you're sitting at your desk, screen off, you are not using it. It will trickle in and slowly charge your phone throughout the day. But if you're actually using the phone, I find that it does not charge the phone at all. Which leads me to the battery life, which leaves a lot to be desired. I typically get 9 to 10 hours on a daily basis. If I wake up at 6 a.m., I pull down the notification shade, and they usually tell me that the phone will last until 3 p.m. So right off the bat, Google is telling me it's only going to last 9 hours, and therefore this will not last me through a full day of work since I wake up so early. So don't let the Google website and all the other YouTubers lie to you about this being an all-day battery life phone. Maybe it'll last you a day if you don't touch your phone at all, but screen on time, I get about 2 to 4 hours, and this really varies depending on how often you use your phone. But regardless, overall, no matter what I do, I get roughly 9 hours on average. Since the battery is so bad, I have to charge it all the time. If I know I need to go outside, then I gotta carry my portable battery pack just in case. And even when I'm connected to the charger, I find that when I'm using the phone at the same time, it will barely even charge. Similar to when I'm driving. So if you're charging your phone, probably best is to leave it down, don't touch it, and you will get the quick boost in battery. Or you're using your phone as you're charging it. I think using a lot of apps already make the phone hot, and you plug in a charger into it will make it even hotter. So as a result, it will charge slower. So that's probably the most annoying part of this phone. I find myself having to be connected to a wire all day long, and I have to charge it multiple times. If I stay at home all day, it's fine, but anytime I leave my house, I find that I always need to charge it. Now moving on to the camera, it has a dual camera system. This year you're getting a bigger sensor, 64 megapixel, although there's some weird pixel binning and all the fancy words going on in the background. You're never really going to get the full 64 megapixel, but just know that in general, you're getting great photos with the Google Pixel 7a in both good and low light conditions. So no complaints from me with the camera so far. But, camera's only as good as the photographer and the things you were taking a picture of. I actually handed my phone over to an iPhone 14 Pro user to take pictures for me, and he was very impressed with the photo quality. He even asked me what phone it was and realized it was a Google Pixel. So just one small anecdote, but I think it is enough for me. Google is doing something right in the camera department there. I still do want to point out that if you take close-up photos, you may experience blurry edges. It's like the Galaxy S23 series. And I believe this is due to the depth of field. Even when you're actually taking a photo, Google will send you reminders to back up away from the subject. So don't point your phone an inch away from the subject. Stay further back and use a 2x crop instead to get better results. And I'm currently using the Google Pixel 7a to record this video as well, along with my other daily vlog videos, so you can see for yourself how the video quality is under normal room conditions. I just have the ceiling lights on, no fancy lights set up or anything like that. For software, Pixel 7a runs on Android 13 out the box, and at this point, Android OS is pretty established. No lags or stutter or anything like that, especially with the G2 chip. Everything is smooth the way it's supposed to be. And it is a very plain, vanilla, simple, straight to the point. No bloatware or anything like that compared to Samsung phones. Some people like that. Some people prefer more features on Samsung One UI. I can see the cases for both though. Software, you're getting 3 years of software support and 5 years of security updates. Samsung, on the other hand, offer 4 years and 5 years. So Samsung actually offer longer software support. But I do like the fact that Google does update their phone every month. Occasionally you get feature drops, so they're always adding new features such as the crash detection. You have to go in a setting and turn it on though, but if you're ever in a car accident, it can automatically call the police for you if needed. And they basically have all the same features as the Pro model, regardless if you use them or not. Magic erasers, free VPN, Google recording app with the accurate translation you can search from whenever you're taking notes. You're getting all the same software for half the price basically. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the Google Pixel 7a at the $500 price range. You get the same experience as the Pro and almost same experience as Samsung flagship phone, which costs over $800 just in terms of performances. It does struggle with battery life and charging the phone though, which I think is the biggest downfall. But overall, I still think the Pixel 7a is a great phone. It is powerful, affordable, and reliable. If you're in the market for a new phone, I highly recommend the Google Pixel 7a despite some of its downfalls. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe. If you're interested in seeing my daily life videos with this phone, please check out this link.